Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video on IBM Planning Analytics Workspace comparing PAW Classic version 55 or previous to the new PAW version 57 user interface. And this conversation is directed specifically for admins. So let's get started. For comparison, I've logged in here to the old PAW 55 user interface. And we noticed that if you were an admin, there were a couple different things to note. First, you had access to your users folders on this left menu bar. You could enter into your folder permissions here. And then we had access to the administration interface with this tile on the upper right-hand side, or from the admin drop-down from your icon and then to administrator. Once you are here, we landed on the databases, and you notice that I have all of these different tiles, which represent my TM1 instances, whether they are running or whether they're stopped. You could easily restart or stop one if it was already running, or alternatively, you could run something that's already stopped. Anything that's running, we had a memory usage and CPU usage, which then is dictated according to different parameters that you set in your configuration. For example, if it's green, or if it's yellow, or even the red threshold. We notice that up here we have the overall memory, my CPU usage, as well as disk space. Then we have our PA agent, whether it's reachable or not, and then whatever version it is on. So for any instance that I am connected to, here you see I'm connected to IP 10.1.05 as well as 32.10. And notice that we have different agents here as well as different IBM models. So this is kind of the landing page for admins. It has a tile layout, and it does have some sort of color coding based off of the different configuration parameters that I set for my organization. We also notice that we have the downloads button up here in the upper right. If I click this, here's where I can download my PA agent. So this is the latest and greatest. Or alternatively, if you are a cloud customer, this is where you could get your planning analytics for Excel download as well. So we also have, going across the top, we have users. Here's where I can create new users. I'm running PAW locally, and so to import new users, I have a import export. Notice that there are little crowns based off of those who have admin privileges. We can see their status, whether they're active or not, or whether they're not yet invited. And I can go up to groups and control the group creation here as well. So we notice that I have several groups created. I can create a group on the fly here, or I can do a bulk upload or even export to do some editing, as well as the number of members in my group. Lifecycle Management is the next admin capability, and here we see that we have the ability to create snapshots or to manage our snapshots. You can see through a chart whether I have any migrations in or out, imports or exports. This is for the last 7 days. I haven't done anything in the last 7 days, but if I did, it would show little charts, and it would then count how many snapshots I've done in that time frame. Features mainly is for cloud users, and here is where you can turn on or off new features at your discretion. So those of you who are on cloud, your admins have the ability to say whether or not a feature gets pushed through on the release. And here is where you can control all of that. Databases we've already seen. The final thing to show is settings. And here's where you can dictate your default themes, whether you have a light theme, a dark theme, or whether you use custom fonts or not. So these are the admin features and capabilities in the old UI. Now let's go and log into the new Planning Analytics version 57 user interface. This had a recent update to it, and so you'll notice that it looks and feels completely different. It is carbonized, as we say, the IBM carbon design system with all of the tones of blacks and grays, as well as a very simple and I think beautiful layout. So if you're an admin here, we notice that our admin tile has gotten moved down into this middle quick launch section. And this is only seen if you're an admin. So if I were logging in as an end user or even a data modeler, I would not see this. So you have to have PAW admin rights to see this, just the same as in the PAW Classic. You had to be an admin in PAW Classic to access that admin tile behind the scenes. And then we notice over on the left sidebar, they included this new icon here that controls my users' contents. So if I click this, I can see all of my users and access their folders this way. So I love this pop-up menu. I think it's very handy. No matter where you're at in the user interface, that left menu bar is always there. The one thing that I think is very different for most people, if you were the type of person that always accessed your admin behind the scenes UI through the admin drop-down menu, we notice that it is no longer listed here to access. So by habit, if you're one of those people that clicked up on the admin name of the user that you logged in, you will no longer see administer in order to launch the admin section. So to get there, you have to go through this admin tile. That is slightly different. So when I click on my administration tile, we notice that I am immediately into a new user interface. So this follows the tile kind of mentality. We have databases, we have agents as a new tile, we have users and groups, as well as the old abilities for features, customizations, and lifecycle management. So settings is now called customizations, but for the most part, everything else is here with the addition of this new section for the PA agent. I personally love this new layout. I think it's very clean. It's very easy to work with. It's an at a glance. So at a high level, you can kind of look and see how many databases you have, how many agents, what's your total users, what roles are they? For example, how many consumers, analysts, modelers, and administrators you have, as well as the number of groups. I think at a glance, this is kind of your one-stop admin dashboard, and I personally love it. I also love that they still included the at a glance color coding so that I know at a glance that, you know, my number of databases that I'm accessing are healthy, or perhaps they have gone into the yellow or the red thresholds, as well as my PA agents. So when I click on databases, any one of these tiles then jumps you into that new page. So here we see with databases, I have kind of a left-hand menu as well as a workspace on the right. So I can click on any one of my databases that I have running here, and I can see the health at a glance. Green means it's obviously running. The question mark means it's obviously shut down. And then we can see the PA agent as well listed for that specific database. If I click on a database on the right workspace area, we now notice more information. So I can kind of dive further in and do some system maintenance or monitoring. So here we see that I am listing my memory, my CPU, again, my agent. I can download the logs easily here. I think that getting the logs was a little bit more convoluted in the PAW Classic. You had to know exactly where to click, and the download button was perhaps maybe a little more hidden. Here it's nice and clear. I also have the same abilities to stop, restart, and end any process here. I can go into my alerts. So if I had any alerts, this would be where they would pop up and tell me what's going on. I can set my warning threshold, my critical threshold, and then of course, send any email notifications if needed. Still have access to threads. So if I had any processes running, or if I saw any users logged in, I still have the ability to do some thread monitoring here, as well as access my config file. So again, if I just open up some of these, you can see that the layout is a little bit different. In my opinion, it is cleaner. I like the look of this. So I can go into, let's say, the administration section. I can click on my audit log. I can see a nice description of what it does, as well as whether it is on or off. So I can make some changes here. And then I have a nice little pop-up that will tell me this change would require a database restart after the change or not. You also have the hyperlink, which is an automatic restore to any original values. And then I can make multiple changes and then click apply here. So this is the new layout. I think it's really nice. And it's very much at a glance. So wherever I'm at on the database tab, I also have the section for agents. So if I go into this, I can click on one of my agents and see that the health, quick glance on the left. And if I then select one on the right, I can go and do a deeper dive of how is that agent looking and do some performance monitoring. So I can see what databases are associated with that agent, as well as setting my warnings and critical threshold alerts. So overall, very easy to kind of maneuver. Up at the top, I noticed some buttons. So I can do this little first icon here. I can download the new agent. The latest and greatest will then automatically downloading. Or I can download my installation guide, just as easy as that. This will pop you over to the IBM Knowledge Center 2.0.0 version for administration agents, exactly where you need to be. I also have the ability to do a refresh, or I can click on this little right-hand box on the side. It's a little eye with a circle, and this will then pop me out to the Knowledge Center for more information. Overall, I love this look and feel. I think that it's very nice. To navigate back to my administration tab, I can get there one of two ways. I can go up into the top. I can do my drop down into the administration, or I have alternatively a little breadcrumb trail here that I can click with this administration hyperlink, and this will take me back out to the main page. Let's take a look at the PA agent. So again, we have a tile and it just pops you back to the same databases, only this time it auto selects the agents option. If I go back, I can go into the users and groups tile by clicking on that one. And here I see all of my different users. I can click on one and I can see what their role is. I can see whether they are invited or not, and then alternatively make a change and apply very easily. I can also go into see what specific groups they're in. So this is really nice when you have one specific person that you perhaps need to go in and add a group. And then from here, I can jump into my management button and make any changes this way. Or alternatively, if you're doing group management, you do have a groups button up at the top here. And if I click on this, I can go into the group this way and see all of those users who are associated with that group specifically. And then a manage button that I can make any changes from here as well. So very easy. We also have the ability to do searching. I can download this list to export, make any changes, and then import. I can also on the fly click the plus button to add a new group or have a trash can to delete a group. So 100% group management here. And similarly to the classic Planning Analytics Workspace version 55 or prior, we have the export user group, import user group, or you can filter. If you are a PAW Classic version and was cloud, you would have a little plus sign and you could add a user on the fly. That is going to be the same in the PAW version 57, cloud PAW as well. But since I'm running PA local, unfortunately, I don't have that option yet. But I do have the tried and true export import to add and manipulate my user groups lists. So I'm going to now go back into my administration page using the drop-down top menu. Taking a look at Lifecycle Management, if I click on this tile, we notice that it's exactly the same. So you have the ability to create snapshots, manage your snapshots, as well as a snapshot actions chart. If you find that helpful, it's still there. So nothing has changed with Lifecycle Management. It's all the same. If I go into customizations, in the old UI, this was called settings. So here's where you could choose on your fonts. You could upload a font, you could export, or you could delete fonts. So here's where you have your customization options. And then if I go into features, this is where you can enable or disable any of those new features at your discretion and kind of control when they get rolled out to your users. So for here, this is a nice feature for you cloud users. Other than that, this has been the overview of the new administration for PAW version 57 with the new UI that is the carbonized look and feel. I want to thank you all for watching today's demonstration. As always, if you have any further questions, please reach out to us. We're happy to help. Our email address is info@QueBIT.com, or be sure to join the conversation and stay abreast on all these new changes on our blog posts. That's QueBIT.com/blog, or our podcast, QueBIT.com/podcast. Thank you, everybody, for joining today, and have a great day. Bye-bye.